Hi everyone. We built a multi-tenant company-agnostic AI assistant for employee Q&A. This was built with my teammates Pradeep Kumar and Narayan Prasai. What started as a fairly straightforward idea quickly turned into something more interesting than we expected. Over the next few minutes, we'll walk through what we set out to solve, what we discovered while building it, and what changed in how we thought about the problem. Then we'll show a quick demo of how it works. Let's get into it. So we started with a simple question. Why is it still so hard for employees to find answers when the information already exists? In most companies, the knowledge is already there: benefit guides, HR policies, onboarding material, training documents, compliance PDFs, but it's scattered across different systems. So, even for very simple questions like what is my HSA limit, how many eye exams are covered, which plan has no deductible, employees end up searching across documents, across portals, across PDFs just to find one answer. At some point, it felt like this shouldn't be this hard anymore. This should be something AI can help simplify, uh, with a simple chatbot. So we started building toward that. At first, this looks like a perfect RAG use case: upload documents, connect an LLM, and let users ask questions. But once we started building it, we ran into something very different. The hard part is not whether an AI can produce an answer. The hard part is whether we can trust that answer. Can we trace it back to a source in the document? Can we see the exact page or chunk it came from? And can we tell when the answer is not accurately present in the data? That was the moment this stopped being a chatbot problem and became a product design problem, because traditional software is deterministic, same input, same output. But LLM based systems are probabilistic. The same question can produce different responses depending on context and retrieval. That changes what we have to design for. It changes how we define correctness, and it changes how users interpret answers. Because users no longer expect keyword matching, they expect understanding. So we had to design around real product trade offs: accuracy, latency, cost, and safety across retrieval and response behavior. For our use case, we focused on employee benefit questions, but a generic chatbot is not enough. The system needs grounded responses, citations, and clear handling of missing information. That is why we built this as a company agnostic document grounded assistant. And instead of explaining more here, we'll show it. Narayan will walk you through the demo. And after the demo, I'll come back here and share the thinking behind the system and the biggest takeaway from building it. Narayan, over to you.
Thank you, Akila. I'll start with the working product from the employee side, then switch to the admin side to show the trust layer behind the scenes. Let me sign in first. This screen we see is the employee chat experience. An employee can ask normal benefits question in plain English. Things like benefits, eye visits, co-pays, or HSA contribution limits. When the assistant answers, the important point is that this is not a generic LLM response. The answer is grounded in the active benefits document, and it cites the source page used to generate the response. That matters for HR and benefits questions, because the assistant has to preserve exact numbers, plan names, eligibility rules, costs, and source pages. It cannot approximate or guess. From the employee's perspective, the experience stays clean. They see the answers with the citations. They do not see retrieval scores, debug traces, logs, chunk IDs, or internal system notes. Let me ask a direct question. What is the HSA contribution limit? Here, the assistant pulls the relevant sections of the active benefits document and returns the answer with the exact numbers and the citation. The employee can also give feedback with the thumbs up, thumbs down, or report. That feedback becomes part of the improvement loop for the admin. Let's switch to the admin side. As a platform owner, I can easily switch back and forth between the admin and employee view. Before I go deeper into the admin and evaluation layer, I want to point out one important product decision. This is not built as a hard-coded A&P benefits bot. The benefits document used here is just the active company document we are using for this demo specifically. The product is designed as a company agnostic RAG assistant. Another company could configure its own assistant name, company branding, support contacts, welcome message, and uploads its own approved documents as its active knowledge base. That matters because enterprise AI assistants should not be one of demos. They need to be configurable systems that different organizations can adapt safely to their own documents, policies, and workflows. That is what makes it company agnostic. The user experience stays the same, but the source of the truth changes based on the tenant's approved documents. At the knowledge base manager inside the admin pane, they can control what assistant is allowed to answer from. The admin can see which document is active, whether the knowledge base is healthy, and whether chunks and embeddings are ready. That control is important because enterprise RAG cannot depend on hidden documents, old drafts, or unmanaged source material. The assistant should answer only from approved, active company sources. One of the main engineering lessons from this project was latency. Not every question needs the full retrieval pipeline. For the exact policy questions, dense retrieval and LLM re-ranking can add cost and delay without always improving the quality of the answer. So we added retrieval telemetry. Let me put the exact questions we asked as an user earlier. What is the HSA contribution limit? In the retrieval playground, we can see what happened behind an answer, which retrieval strategy was used, which document was active, which chunks were selected, and if we expand here, we can see how long it took to answer. Besides that, we can also see that how long each retrieval step took to answer. For direct question like what is the HSA contribution limit, the system can use BM25 first path. BM25 is very fast for exact terms like HSA contribution, deductible, or plan names. So when the query is specific enough, the system can skip dense retrieval and LM re-ranking. That reduces latency without reducing the answer quality. Dense retrieval and re-ranking are still available, but they run only when they actually add value, especially when employee uses less formal language like iVisits, iPaycheck, or plan with no deductible. That is one of the biggest practical lessons from the build. A better AI system is not always the one that uses the most AI at every step. Sometimes the better system is the one that knows when a simpler, faster method is enough. So far, this gives us the working product layer, employee chat, active documents grounding, citations, feedback, admin control, and retrieval telemetry. But once the assistant can answer, the next question becomes more important. How do we prove it keeps working? That is where the evaluation layer comes in. In the evaluation layer, we can run golden test questions and check whether the assistant passes the deterministic gates. These tests check things like right source page come back or not, must include facts, citations present, did the assistant avoid unsupported claims, did it correctly identify when the source document did not contain the same answer. We can run one test individually, or we can run these in a sequence. This gives us a practical way to test the RAG system continuously instead of relying on man-spot checks. This is important because RAG system can break quietly. A small change in chunking, retrieval strategy, routing, or prompting can improve one answer and break another. So the goal is not to just to build an assistant that answers once. The goal is to build an assistant that can be tested, monitored, and improved safely. That is the real lesson from this project. Our product is not just a chatbot. The deeper product is the trust layer behind the chatbot. The employee sees a clean answer, the admin sees the source of truth, retrieval behavior, feedback, and evaluation results. And the system gives us a way to keep improving without guessing. That is what we mean when we say enterprise AI assistants should not just sound confident, they should be grounded, observable, testable, and safe to improve. Back to you, Akila.
Thank you, Narayan. I'll take it from here. Most AI solutions focus on answer generation. We focused on trust and decision quality. What the slide shows is the architecture behind that thinking. A user asks a question, we retrieve tenant isolated knowledge, we generate a grounded response, and then we apply a trust layer that decides whether the assistant should answer, clarify, or fall back. That was the key shift for us from treating answer generation as the product to treating decision quality as the product. And once we framed it this way, the evaluation became much more than testing. It became the mechanism to identify trust gaps, balance confidence with safety, and continuously improve the system over time. So, this is not just an answer engine, it's a system for continuously scaling trust. And once we started thinking about trust as a product quality, the scope of the product itself changed. We thought we were building a chatbot. What we discovered was that the assistant alone was not enough. The bigger challenge was measuring quality, understanding failures, and continuously improving the system over time. So the product evolved beyond the assistant itself. As we continued building, we realized the real product was not just the assistant, it was the system around it. A multi tenant architecture, a curated and admin controlled knowledge layer, an evaluation engine, LLM as a judge, regression tracking, telemetry, and a feedback loop that continuously improves the assistant over time. All of this was built around one goal, making system quality measurable and improvable over time. That was the real shift. We were no longer building just an AI assistant. We were building a scalable AI product system. And that led us to our biggest takeaway. An AI assistant is not ready just because it can answer. It is ready when it can be evaluated, monitored, improved, and trusted. That is the kind of AI product we built and the standard we want to keep building toward. Thank you.